What is home automation and what do I need to know to be able to build that perfect experience? We'll have the perfect guest that's joining me today as I'm sitting down with Carlton from ioty, and we're going to discuss everything home automation and really how to improve your home living and home lifestyle. Before we start, subscribe now so you can stay up to date on all the latest tips, trends, information, and inspiration right here in South Florida. So subscribe now and stay up to date. Carlton, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited about this. And obviously home automation is at the fingertips of everyone, but really diving into those questions and educating us all. But first let's start. Who are you? Who's ioty? And what do you guys represent and stand for?
Definitely. So as you mentioned, I'm Carlton Fiorentino, one of the co-founders of ioty here. We're a big team that really makes everything happen. And really what we focus on is technology consulting. So we take that on the custom residential and light commercial projects, and we take technology design to match the client's needs. We really focus first on the design and the consulting to make sure that we achieve what they want and what they need. And from there, we go forward and we implement and do the installation and service for them.
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's such a personalized category in the sense of every client is a little bit different, what they're truly looking to accomplish and get out of home automation. But tell me, simplify for everyone, what is home automation?
Home automation is really the ability to not only control your home from a device, your phone, or a touch panel, but to actually automate the processes that happen to create an easier lifestyle when you're living, right? So whether that means that the shades come down at specific times, the lights dim to certain levels, or getting as complex as actually changing the color temperature of the lighting in your home to match the lights outside. So not having to tell your home what you want it to do, but having that home actually live with you is more what we would consider a smart home or an automated home rather than what we call a clever home, which is something that you can pick up your phone and turn your lights on and off.
Absolutely. And really, aside from just as far as sound and lighting, it's a whole security factor as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We integrate security cameras, and taking that to the automation level, people say, okay, I want 10, 20, 15 security cameras throughout my home, but
right.
What good is that, right? That's really a reactive measure. We can take that to the next level and automate those so that you're actually getting alerts with real-time analytics. So the cameras will be able to recognize, hey, this is a dog, this is a raccoon, this is a person, right? So we can set up different types of automations to tell you, hey, this person is loitering in your yard. Hey, this person crossed this line between certain times. Get notifications to yourself, family members, or staff within the space.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the thing is, it's all a matter of hiring the right pro because, the professional's knowledge and your knowledge is really the most important factor when installing systems because, just because you see something and a homeowner might think that a certain system is for them, all of the capabilities, variety of product and their function. So, it's a matter of matching the perfect system with their lifestyle and what they're ultimately looking to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of things when you're looking for a professional that, you really need to get into. There's some basic questions that a lot of us are probably familiar with or that we even outline on our website, right? To just ensure that the company is qualified to perform the project, right? So you want to find out, are they certified by any of our industry partners, CDL or the HTA? Are they licensed? Are they insured? Do they have good client references? Those are some of the basics. I think once you get through that, you can select a couple companies. But in my opinion, you really have to match with that person or that company. So you need to do a little bit more digging on the personal side and say, hey, does this person have the same lifestyle or match the values that I have in the way that I live, right? Find out from your salesperson, are they a salesperson that's just here to, get some money and do a decent job, but not really understand what you want? Or do they fiddle with this stuff at their house? What do they have in their home? Go to other clients that they've done and see how they interact with those clients and with the system that they've installed and fundamentally understand, because at the end of the day, with the same products, we can take that in a lot of different directions, right? So just because you have the proper products doesn't mean that the implementation is going to be right for the way that you live.
Right.
So,
that's a great point.
Yeah, if you have children, if you have staff, if you're just, make sure that that company has taken on projects that are similar to yours so they can implement what is needed for really for you, and not just a system in general that's, you know, zeros and ones controlling different items in your home.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, because asking the right questions is really, you know, where people need to start. And what is that first step? You know, like how to find those right professionals, as you mentioned. I mean, you have to make sure they're certified, they're licensed, but more so they know the product, because, you know, everybody, you know, there's a lot of companies that represent a lot of different companies out there, or brands, but, you know, knowing the product, I guess, you know, obviously that seems to really stand out to me, and how it's interacted, how people use it, not just in a demo, but really on the day to day. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just so many factors come into play when you're actually using it. And just,
right.
you know, to touch on the products, you know, figure out what manufacturers that company uses. I truly believe that the integrator that you select is more important than the manufacturers that they utilize, right? So whether it's Savant, Sony, Samsung, Lutron, any of those systems can be created to fit the needs of most of our customers, right? But
Absolutely.
everybody, you know, all integrators, if you find an integrator that does 10 different control platforms, chances are they're just trying to get all the business, right? They don't specialize in anything, so they're probably not going to tailor something to your needs. So once you figure out what manufacturers they're using, check on their status, right? Or, you know, everybody has different tiers. And that's not to say that you can't go with a smaller company, but what you need to ensure is that if that integrator is going to provide you the proper level of service, them or myself, we need support from our vendors as well. So if I have vendor, you know, ABC, right, and I am a silver or entry level tier with that vendor, if something happens or I need support from that vendor, I'm not going to get very much support. Okay. If I'm a platinum or a diamond dealer with those vendors, that client can now be assured that if something goes wrong, I'm a big enough account with those vendors that I will get the proper support. And a lot of times what you'll see is even a smaller company can provide better support if they focus down onto those few manufacturers. So it seems like, you know, something where the client shouldn't really care, but at the end of the day, I can promise you all the customer service in the world. There will only be so much I can do if I don't have my vendor support.
Without a doubt. And that's a great point, because a lot of homeowners and even other professionals, because, you know, a lot of integrators work with designers, they work with architects, builders, but asking the question as far as what their level is with the company, whatever manufacturer the individual chooses, because support is everything. In technology, you know, it's not made in the sense of being able to just integrate for the just, you know, a buy and set up type of plug and play type of you know, integration. So, you know, support level is huge, and I wouldn't even thought about it, you know, when just looking at a number of different brands and varieties, but, you know, definitely that. And something that I wanted to ask, because, you know, when you read a lot about home automation, energy efficiency comes up in so many different ways. And, you know, how does the integration with that work? Is it time sensitive, so that way whether it's sunny outside or if it's hotter outside or different times of the year, you know, tell us a little bit about how that affects.
Yeah, if you don't mind, you mentioned something about buy and play that I'd like to.
Yeah, plug and play. Yeah.
That's energy. You know, another question that a lot of people don't ask is just, you know, what, in addition to service, what does that company offer as far as maintenance? Okay. So we're very big on providing proper maintenance to our clients. There is a charge for it, but make sure you know what that is up front if you're coming with a company like mine or another company, so that you're not blindsided after the fact. A lot of people will tell you, hey, look, spend X dollars on this system and you have the best system ever. Right. You can buy an iPhone today and it's the best iPhone ever created. But if you don't keep that software updated, if you don't install the security patches, it's going to become antiquated sooner rather than later. With a lot of the products that we select, that hardware can be upgraded for a good amount of time in the foreseeable future, but those software updates do need to happen. Okay. So if you buy your system and you forget about it, eventually you will have issues. We believe that a properly maintained system won't need service. So we offer what we, you know, maintenance plans rather than service agreements. We'll go out to a client's home every quarter, upgrade the software, upgrade the firmware, then service happens to be free, but we believe that's because you shouldn't need it. If you buy a system and you don't maintain it, or if that company doesn't have a structured maintenance plan, I would be wary of that, because that means that they don't fundamentally understand what it takes to keep that system going in the future. and they're just going to say, here you go, here's your system. It works perfectly.
Right.
But eventually it's not. And that's
Right.
just the way of electronics.
And upkeep is everything, especially when at homes. Doesn't matter if you're talking about outdoor maintenance, air conditioning, HVAC maintenance, but home automation more so than anything. You know, it's technology, and you have to stay up to date with it. So
yeah, and it's changing every day, especially with security patches, right? So all of our systems that are on our maintenance programs are on a cloud managed platform. So we have 24/7 cloud management, right? We're able to push updates, we're able to push software, because some of them are critical. So maybe we're not out there for the quarterly maintenance, but there's a security patch to the network because somebody figured out how to do an attack, right?
Right.
That needs to be addressed, and that needs to be taken care of. So in addition to those maintenance plans, what type of cloud systems do they have to support you? Because if you have if you have a service issue, right? Let's say I guarantee that I'll get to you within 24 to 48 hours. That's a reasonable time frame. But now I need to roll a truck, right? So in times like today, what we found is we've actually become significantly more successful because we focus so hard on our cloud platforms before this pandemic hit.
Right.
So let's say something as basic as your TV stops working. Sure, you'll get there the next day. That's a reasonable turnaround time. But now the client's waiting, we're rolling a truck, nobody's really happy. If they have a proper cloud platform as we do, we can get that resolved within a couple of minutes usually.
Oh, wow. So basically you can go into any installed system to be able to manage it remotely.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So, and that's something that a lot of homeowners might not realize. I mean, the thing is, it's like making sure that you have that right structure, because the worst thing, and it happens to everyone. I mean, even just put, just the basic cable and fiber in perspective, as far as when your TV goes out. I mean, you're sitting there and waiting. So there's nothing worse than not being able to address an issue and being able to have somebody, because at the end of the day, it can't be serviced immediately, but being able to handle it remotely does make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So just making sure those cloud platforms that are used are secure, right? That they're from legitimate vendors.
Without a doubt. And what would you say in getting into that energy efficiency space, and really what home automation can do for, bills? I mean, because right in there, that's built-in cost savings, and there is ROI built into not only the lifestyle, but what you're paying in other forms.
Yeah, I mean, I have a tough one, a tough time answering that question. I don't like to mislead anybody. There are a lot of energy saving things that we can do,
right.
But I think that we need to look at that secondary, just not to mislead anybody, right? As far as the ROI is concerned, you're not going to get a direct ROI over the next 5 to 10 years from putting in a lighting system.
Right.
Now, what we find is there is a benefit, because most large homes, especially, you need a lighting system, right? You don't want to walk around and turn off individual light switches or try to set scenes. So, by doing that, by setting specific dim levels so that your lights never go above 75% because of the perception of your eye, which we can get into another time, right? We can start to decrease energy savings or increase energy savings and decrease energy usage by about a third just on your lighting system alone. Same thing with air conditioning, setting schedules through a single app, right? What we find is if we make it easy to use, people use it more often. Then your basic thermostat might have scheduling in it, but people don't use it because it's so cumbersome. So I don't have direct numbers for you. We can say that yes, with these systems, we are becoming more efficient. But hard to speak about the ROI.
Right, but really, I mean, collectively, it does make your home more efficient. It runs better, as far as on every level, and just the convenience factor alone is worth as far as what automation will do. But
yes.
But when looking at everything as far as tips, we've gone over a lot of different things. Is there certain components of of the system itself that is most important, where if somebody wanted to create an automation system in phases, is there a structured setup, or is it more so personal experience and what they're looking for?
No, absolutely. There's a lot of great structured setups today that weren't available even 2 to 5 years ago. Really with advancements in networking. So what I tell all of my clients is let's focus on, the first 3 items, your network. Your network is most important, because no matter what you do today or in the future, everything is relying on the network, right? From your individual devices to anything home automation related that you put into the home. Next, we try to focus on lighting control and shades. Those are not going to be the fun parts of your home. They're not going to be the sexiest parts of your home, but those need to be implemented earlier rather than later. And they're also something that I believe is the most functional, right? We find that manual shades don't get used. We find that, homes without lighting control systems, to give you a scenario, you're having a dinner party and you want to set a specific scene. You'd have to walk around to each dimmer, set that dim level, make sure you like it, and then turn them off at the end of the night, right? And then you can almost never replicate that again. With a lighting control system with one button, you can replicate that. So whether it's 5 loads or 100 loads, we have specific dim levels, and that can be repeated over time. From there, all of the audio video systems that we do today, which is really the fun and sexy part of what we do, it's all network based. So if you can't do it up front, make sure you have the wiring in place for it. And, we'll talk about wireless solutions, but if you can get wiring in place, get that wiring in place, and then expand as you can, right? So our video systems today are video over IP. So as long as you have that network backbone, you can expand infinitely. Same thing with audio. It's all over the internal network, bringing in the internet. So, you can really, as long as you have the proper.
And when looking at everything, because obviously I'm sure there's certain grades of every type of product, where would you say the best money is spent overall in the sense of really making sure something is the highest quality as far as a component that's integrated into a full system? Like if somebody were to budget an entire system, where would you say, as far as ranking for, where dollars really should be spent?
I think the dollars have to be spent on the network.
Yeah.
And then I think they have to be spent on ensuring that any other component that you put is compatible with the cloud, right? So whatever cloud service your integrator decides to choose. From there, you can, lighting control, you can expand later. You can pick and choose if you do it wirelessly. Same thing with shades and AV. So I think the money needs to be spent on the network.
Carlton, so would you say home automation is for everybody?
I think that to a certain degree, home automation absolutely can be for everybody. And that's where it really comes down to choosing the integrator that you have to select what's important to you. I think that in one way or another, everybody wants or needs some basic component, whether it starts with lighting control, starts with controlling your air conditioning, starts with voice control for some basics, right? So even some of our elderly clients that say, I want basic light switches. I don't want to get up, I don't want to have to fiddle with anything. We're finding that a lot of them love voice control for their music, and they're actually using music that they were never using before, right? Or having shades that automatically work because they no longer want to go around the house. So I think that, in one way or another, home automation is for everybody. It's just a matter of finding somebody that understands that maybe you don't want the entire system, or maybe you do, and tailoring that to your needs before their own.
Right. And obviously, we mentioned it a little bit before, but when looking at the installation of a system, what can homeowners truly expect? Is it, I know there's wireless systems, there's obviously wired systems, there's areas that are probably more important to be wired versus wireless, but what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, wireless is becoming more and more popular, and it's gaining a lot of traction because we have new protocols that enable it. One thing that, you have to be careful of is, if you're going to do a wireless system, you still need cables run to get a sufficient network running. So a lot of people think, okay, I have this, I just want to do everything wireless. There will always be some wires that are needed to maintain the integrity of a system. From there, I think that, once again, going back to that integrator, making sure that they work with your needs and understand the challenges of your specific site, right? So if your home is, built in the 20s or the 30s and it's a lot of concrete, which we deal with often, and you can't run wires, then we need to be mindful of that and really tailor the system. So I don't think there's a one size fits all answer. I think that sometimes it's more price efficient to run wires than it is to go wireless if the home allows, right? So if there's a big attic space and I can run some wires and get everything going and not need the same wireless infrastructure, that makes more sense. So, I think it's really a case by case basis.
Okay. All right. And I know that you've done a lot of different projects over the years. Do you have a certain project that really stands out to you, whether it's the most challenging, most rewarding, but what's your favorite installation to date?
Yeah, so we have a project codenamed kind of 180, and really what makes that project special to me and to us is the integration that we had with the owner, and a lot of the leeway that he gave to us to help select products and really what he wanted. So, you know, it was the third project that we had done with that owner. So we really had a good understanding of what it is that they wanted and what they needed. And they leaned on us a lot. So it's very hard when people are writing checks, especially for $100, $200, $500,000, for those clients to kind of let go and trust us.
Absolutely.
You know, they'll tell you, yes, they trust you, but when it comes to writing those checks, it's like, so, you know, what I really enjoyed there is we were actually able to provide significantly more value, significantly more cost savings, and run a more efficient project because we had a lot of that freedom to say, hey, listen, this is what's best in this area. This is what's best in that area. And believe it or not, you know, when we have that freedom, we actually find cost savings as well. So as products change, if we know that that homeowner isn't going to be difficult with us, we can go back and say, hey, listen, there's a new product out. It's going to save you money. We need to make these changes and really go with it. And the project came out absolutely stunning from the top down. So.
Without a doubt. And as far as, you know, technology is always changing. And you just mentioned as far as products, you know, new products always coming out. Do you have any vision or what's your thought as far as home automation in the next 5 years?
I mean, I think it's going to be something that enters every space, right? Whether it's an office space, it's a home, you know, as we mentioned with wireless, so Wi-Fi 6 coming around, 5G coming around, and really the cloud. So the cloud is enabling us, believe it or not, to become more secure as we introduce more products. So we're relying on larger companies, which, you know, should have better security protocols to really enable that. And I think as we do a lot of testing, you know, with some of the major manufacturers, it's going to be something that is prevalent everywhere. So people will use it at all times, and it's going to start learning with us, right? So I think depending on the level that you decide to implement, you may still need a professional integrator, but a lot of it will also be able to be done on your own. And it will learn with you and determine exactly what it is that you want and you need, which is a little bit scary, but I think overall that's what the market is asking for.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And obviously, you know, we've gone over a lot today. So if anybody wants to reach out to you to get a consultation or have a conversation, what's the best way for people to be able to reach you?
We're always available. So, you know, you can call us, you can text us, you can email us, you can send us a request on Twitter, you can visit our website and chat with us. Really any way that you can think of to get a hold of us, you know, you can. We have a lot of things on our website to touch on some of the items that we spoke about. So we have a budget calculator. Maybe you're interested in home automation, but you have no idea what it's going to cost. Is it 5,000? Is it 500? We have a budget calculator. You can go in, put as little or as much information as you want. It'll give you some ranges. We have videos on the control systems that we use, so you can kind of pick and choose what's important to you. And we also have questions to ask, right? So we touch a little bit more on a document there. So, you know, and anything that you need, we're always around.
And that's a great point, because as far as budgets, a lot of people that are getting into home automation, they don't even know what type of budget they should truly have, you know, because, you know, and that's great that you guys have that feature right there on your site.
Yeah, absolutely. We find it's very helpful. You know, and it helps set the direction. I always ask our clients, like, hey, do you have a budget? And they think, well, you're just trying to meet my budget.
Right.
Really not. You know, we're just trying to be mindful so that we can help guide clients in a certain direction. Because, you know, it's hard, and there's so many options available today, and there's only more and more options that are coming available that, believe it or not, having a budget in mind will actually help you. You know, you can stray from it and go up or down as you see fit in that value, but getting that budget for a baseline is an important start.
Without a doubt. And your website is iotypro.com.
Yep, that it is.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Carlton, I can't thank you enough. You know, everybody that's been viewing us today, do your homework, ask your questions, but really focus on you, because the most important thing is making sure the integrator is fitting your lifestyle and ultimately achieving what you want. So, Carlton, thanks again. Everyone, thank you for viewing At Home with the Home Show. You can always tune in every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. to check us out on Facebook. You can always reach us at homeshows.net. Find us on all of our social media platforms at FL Home Shows. But again, Carlton, I appreciate all the information, and I know everyone's walking away with this more comfortable and in better guidance going into home automation.
I hope so. Thanks for having me. It was great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks so much.